Mel.
And I'm Janelle.
And this is the Murder Mamas.
Let's go.
Okay.
I'm not doing it anymore.
Okay.
It's hard.
Okay, it's hard.
Yeah, mentally. I keep saying it. I don't know why I don't want to.
It's fine. We can totally change. We're changing our whole show. So it doesn't matter.
We've been changing all kinds of stuff.
Doing our own shit.
Having fun.
Having fun with it.
We're exploring.
We are. So I'm going to talk about a Dateline episode tonight. It's called The Sleepover. If you want to look it up.
Nope.
Well, I wasn't saying you. I meant like other people if they wanted to look it up.
Me. I was like, no.
No. So I'm going to do a recap of that. I think it's a very frustrating case. I don't think the cops did everything that they could have. And I think I could have done a better job. So here we go.
Okay.
We're going to be talking about Navy Petty Officer Sherri Malarik and her husband, Greg. So Sherri, I don't know when she was born. I didn't write any of that down. But she was from a Should I edit that out? I didn't write anything out, so I don't have any, like, dates or anything. It doesn't matter when she was born. No one cares. Okay. So we're going to be talking about Navy Petty Officer Sherri Malarik and her husband, Greg, but mostly Sherri. So Sherri was in the Navy.
Okay.
And she was from a military family, so she was used to moving around and, like, being in the military life. Okay. She was very set in her ways. Like, her friends and her family were like, she was a go-getter. Like, there's nothing going to stop her. And the one thing that she wanted in life was to be a mom. She was motivated, and her sisters described her just like as a go-getter and very straight. Like, when she was at work, she worked her butt off. When she was at home being a mom, like, she was just a mom, and that's it. Like, she would just focus on her kids and nothing else. So she's a great person. She lived there. This takes place in Pensacola, Florida.
Okay.
And it is September 21st, 2001, when Sherri goes missing. Now, this is a strange story because on this day, it's called the Sleepover because it was her kids, which she had 5, Sherri. She had 1 kid before she met Greg. Okay. Greg had a son before he met Sherri, and then they had 3 kids together. So they have 5 kids total living with them. And then there were their cousins coming over for a sleepover. This is 5 months after she got back from Greece, that she was stationed in Greece for a year in the Navy. And she decided to do that because she could just go to Greece for 1 year and be done with it. Or she would have to uproot the family and be moved around from time to time if she didn't take that 1 year assignment.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
So she decided, hey, I'm going to go to Greece. I'm going to get it over with. And then we're going to, be a family.
Okay.
So that's when September 21st comes around. I think her sister drops off her 2 kids. Her husband was being honored at the military. Her whole family's in the military. So it was a great night to have every kid over and just have fun at the sleepover. So the kids are all there, and they said that their dad, Greg, was outside working on the car. I guess Sherri had been complaining that there was something wrong with their car. And so he was outside most of the time, is what the children said. The kids were ages 3 to 11 at the time. 3-year-old daughter Tara is interviewed a lot, and then the Jacob, who was 11 at the time, is interviewed a lot, but the middle kids are not, so I'm just going to leave them out of it.
Okay.
They just didn't do the interview with Dateline, so okay. I don't know why.
I don't expect you to know.
No, just I don't let's just leave them out of it if they didn't participate.
I didn't say you're leaving people out.
That's true.
Just leave them out. No one knows the difference.
Okay. So they say that they're all playing, like the girls are playing with Barbies on the side, the boys are playing video games. Mom, Sherry's getting things ready to eat for dinner for the kids to have. And they say that they hear their dad, Greg, call Sherry and say, hey, come out here. I want to talk with you. And then Jacob says, his mom says, okay, like in a minute, let me get all the kids ready for dinner. So she gets them all their dinner out and then goes outside. He never sees his mom again.
What?
Yeah. She goes outside, never to be seen again. 2 hours, 3 hours go by, and finally he was like, hey, brother, like, where's our mom? And he was like, I don't know. Like, has she come back? And they're like, I don't know. Nobody knows where she is at. They were all just playing. They were all just having a good time. And, like, they totally forgot that she, like, stepped out and then never came back. Is it like...
Of course they did.
Right?
I mean,
who needs the mom? Like, so anyway... So the kids are like, well, where's mom? And then Greg says, oh, she went out to get some milk from the store. And they're like, oh, okay, but she hasn't come back and it's been like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, maybe we should like call around and look for her. And so gets the kids all ready for bed. And he's like, you guys need to go to bed. And like, let's just all make some calls or whatever.
He's acting really suspicious.
A little suspicious. And then someone knocks on the door at 9:30 that night. And it's the babysitter who wants to return a lawnmower that she had borrowed from Greg like the previous day.
The fuck?
Yeah. So put that in your mind. So she stands there, they talk for like 10 minutes, and then she leaves, and then he leaves, gets all the kids ready for bed. And
is Greg boinking the babysitter?
Maybe.
Greg's boinking the babysitter.
Greg's boinking the babysitter. So
wait, I have a quick thought.
Yeah.
And now it's gone.
Okay.
It was really, like, it was there, and then I got distracted by my suspicion that he's boinking the babysitter.
Mm-hmm. So he gets on the phone and makes some phone calls to, like, her sisters, saying, like, hey, have you seen her?
Called the police?
And he did make a phone call to the police. So I'm going to play it for you, and I want you to, like, tell me what your opinion is.
Okay.
So...
Also, what an interesting excuse. She went to go get milk.
She went to go get milk.
Isn't that the whole thing? Like, oh, my daddy went to go get a pack of cigarettes, and I never
came back. Yeah, but like her kids were like, my mom was in the Navy. Like, she had everything written down. There's no way that she would have my cousins over and have us for a big sleepover and forget something like milk. Like, that just wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
She's not like that. She has 5 kids. She knows how to prepare food for multiple kids. You know what I mean? Like, they're just adding 2 more cousins over to have a sleepover. Like, she didn't forget anything. Like, that's just a lame excuse.
Why did he call her outside
to
tell her that they forgot milk?
Right.
Like, presumably. Yeah. I'm assuming, right?
So, it just doesn't make any sense. So here's his phone call.
City Police, Jackie. Hi, my name is Sherri Malarik. My wife is a little late getting back to us. Wondering if you had any kind of accident reports this evening. Not with injuries, no. Where would she be coming from? I have no idea. She left and she didn't say where she was going. I assume she went to the store.
I don't know. What's your opinion on that?
It's my phone. Oh. I don't feel that there was any, like, emotion behind it.
When I first heard it, I was like, okay, I don't think there's, like, it does sound like he's kind of stressed. Like, he doesn't know where his wife is. No, you don't think that at all?
I don't want to say, I'm convinced he's working the babysitter at this moment in time.
Yeah.
So, like, I think just based on that alone, I don't like him.
Okay.
But I'm thinking, like, is there any accident reports? I don't know.
Yeah, it's not something that you would...
Not even saying, like, I'm really concerned, like, my wife is missing. Okay, there's no accident reports. What's the next step?
Right.
Like, can I...
It was just, okay, bye.
Yeah, like, can I file a missing person report?
Yeah.
Can I...
No, there was none of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, a little weird. So, anyway, he, I guess, had been calling his bank as well to find out what the finances were like for some reason. He called Navy Federal Credit Union, which was their credit union. Uh-huh. So, I don't know why he would have to call them when he's calling the police telling him that his wife is missing. Why are you getting on the bank's website? That seems a little weird. The day your wife goes missing, you know? Like, as he's making phone calls to the sisters and, you know, family members and stuff saying, I can't find her, he's also online checking his bank account balances, which is weird.
He's in the military too?
Yeah, he's in the Navy too.
Some Navy, they just think different.
Yeah, I guess.
Know. Like,
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, her sister, they get a call at 6 o'clock in the morning. Greg called her sister and was like, hey, she's still not home. And so then she gets up, and then her husband gets up, and her husband grabs a gun and goes looking for her. He's like, I'm going to go find her. So, because he's in the military too. So they're all in the military. So he's driving around, and at 8 o'clock, he spots her car in the Winn-Dixie parking lot.
Okay.
Now, he finds that she has parked, like, all the way in the back of the parking lot. Like, her car is, like, in the back of the parking lot. And he was like, that's weird, because if she was going to get milk, wouldn't you park at, like, the front one, you know, like, the very front parking spot at night, if you were going out at night at 7:30, you know, and you had 7 kids back in the house? Like, that's a weird parking spot, right? So
I have a real issue with this story so far.
Mm-hmm.
It's 7:30 at night. Like, presumably they've already eaten dinner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were eating while she went outside to go talk to Greg.
Why the fuck do you need milk?
Right, exactly.
Like, what?
Well, that was his excuse.
What sense does that make?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to ruin anything, but I'm thinking he killed her or had her killed or something to that effect.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking at this very moment. In my mind, I'm like, if you're going to take the time to plan all of that,
Mm-hmm.
why don't you take an extra day to think, how can I make this make fucking sense?
Right.
And you're smart, I guess, like, you're dumb. You're so dumb.
Yeah. Well, they mostly are.
Like, it wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It's 7:30. The kids have already eaten. They want milk.
Right.
And you just say, like,
No.
oh, there's no milk. We'll grab some in the morning.
Right. Yes.
Or, oh, I'll get it after you're asleep. Or,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, you wouldn't go out and get it right then and there.
No.
No.
There's not I've never been in any sort of situation where there's a milk emergency. And life will end if I don't have milk.
Nope.
Right?
Not,
Like,
right. Yep.
I'm really struggling with.
Well, this is his story. So,
I think about that with a lot of criminals, though.
yeah. Oh, yeah, for
What
sure.
is the point?
Oh, yeah.
There was some guy. I saw something where, like, apparently someone was robbed at gunpoint
Oh, in Kingwood?
on the trails,
Yeah.
the Greenbelt trails.
Right by the cop station, too, or the police station.
Super weird, right?
Right.
I think it's fake.
Yeah.
Super weird. But, like, it sounded like they were posting from their neighbor's house.
Right.
So
it was a weird
person
post.
held you up at gunpoint for your phone and money.
Yeah.
The Greenbelts are for people walking their dogs. Like,
Right.
Why would you stand there
Yeah.
to try and rob someone?
I don't carry my wallet when I'm
No
walking.
one's gonna have their fucking money on them.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah.
And you're using the phone.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. It
So-
was a weird post. Yeah.
They got nothing? Because I've been robbed at gunpoint.
Yeah.
And they
got
pushed me to pull my purse off my shoulder. Like,
Yeah.
pushed a gun into my chest to get my
Yeah.
purse off my shoulder.
Yeah.
So, like, if they're going so far as to rob you and pull a gun on you, like,
They're gonna do something.
they're
else.
gonna get something.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought it was very interesting.
It is. I thought so too.
But, so I was thinking about that too.
Right.
Like, why would you set up to rob someone
Yeah.
on a walking trail, like where people walk dogs?
Yeah. I don't know.
What do they have on them?
Nothing.
Nothing. Literally
Literally
nothing.
nothing. No, I don't have
carry
anything.
Nothing.
I have a shit bag.
Yeah, I got a bag of dog shit. And
That's about it.
headphones.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yep.
It just makes no sense. But
Yeah.
criminals aren't criminals. 'Cause
No.
they're smart.
No,
So,
they're not.
Sorry for my tangent.
That's okay.
But I think about that a lot.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that?
Right. So the brother-in-law found her at 8 a.m.
The car.
The car. He walks up to it, and he said he was thinking that maybe she was kidnapped or something happened, because he's like, I can't imagine why the car would be there, but she wouldn't be there. Mm-hmm. And he goes to the driver's seat, or he goes to the passenger seat, looks in, and sees her slumped over. So, like, she was physically pushed down so that, like, she wouldn't be seen sitting in the car. And that side was locked.
So he was in the driver's side, but like she was slumped over towards the passenger side?
She was in the passenger seat. And it
slumped
was
over towards the driver?
No, just slumped down, like down into the car, so people wouldn't see her, like if they were just walking by. So he went over to the driver's seat, that was unlocked, and then unlocked it and went back over, and then found out she was like, she's gone. And so she was shot twice with the .25 caliber gun. And so they searched Greg and Sherri's guns because they have a lot of guns. They're in the military, like their whole family was in the military. But what I'm thinking is they get there, the cops get there, and they're like, they interview Greg, they interview the kids, they go interview the sister, and then they find out about the babysitter. So they go interview her, and they have all of these people they're interviewing. Not one time did they take any gunshot residue off their hands.
Okay.
What in the fuck? You have someone that was shot twice, a wife, a husband who obviously did it because the husband always does it. You don't bother to take gunshot residue off his hands to see if he fired a fucking weapon?
Yeah.
And then you find out that there's a babysitter that he's fucking, and you don't do the same thing to her?
So he was boinking the babysitter?
Yeah, he is boinking the babysitter.
I was right.
So, when Sherri went to Greece, he invited her to come over to watch the kids for him for a couple times. She works in the Navy office as well. She's a Navy person. And
she's a Navy person.
Whatever they're called. Navy petty officer. And then Jacob was saying, the boy was saying she would come over 5 minutes earlier, or she would stay 5 minutes later, and then she would be 10 minutes earlier, and then she'd just come over and sleep over. Like, just random things while his mom is over there serving our country in Greece. So he's fucking her. But, so they found one shotgun, or one, bullet casing.
There you go.
And they knew she was shot twice, so they only found one. They put that in a bag and then sent it off and then never tested it. So they didn't test it for fingerprints, they didn't test it for DNA, they didn't test it to see anything. Okay. And so they're like, okay, so nothing's going anywhere. Like, they don't have a .25 caliber gun. He's never registered one. He doesn't own one. Like, the babysitter was, at the house. He was at the house the whole time. So this case is going cold. And the family is like, what the fuck are you talking about? So, like, this happened September 21st, 2001, which is right after September 11th. Okay. So they're thinking that, like, probably the cases are, like, not getting as much attention as needed, like, at the Navy, because, like, they were interviewing, NCIS was called in to interview them, but they didn't do a very good job because, like, they didn't get anything out of them. So some people were like, was it because it was 9/11 and everybody was, like, freaking out at the time? They just didn't focus on the case. I don't know. So nothing happens, and that's it.
What?
Yeah, for now.
What?
That's it. They give up. Like, the person retires, and then the case goes cold. And, like, nothing happens. And then there's, like, a cop that comes on, and he does some interviews, and then nothing happens. And then there's another cop that comes on, and he does some interviews, and then nothing happens.
What?
Yeah. And so then this final cop comes on, and he was like, I'm going to solve this case because there's no fucking way that babysitter was at that house returning a lawnmower at 9:30 at night. That's not a coincidence. He's like, I don't believe in coincidences. He's like, that wasn't a coincidence that happened on that night. So they called her.
I can't. Wouldn't you do literally anything more believable than, hey, I know you need your lawnmower at 9:30 p.m.
Right. Like, yeah. And Like,
I mean, say you found a fucking stray cat in the street. Literally anything else.
I don't know. So, yeah, and that was just like, oh, okay. So the wife went out for milk and never fucking came home, and no one thinks it's weird enough to, like, do anything further than
And
just...
why is she in the passenger seat?
And why is she in the passenger seat, too?
She drove,
so, when
right?
When the police came to check their house, because they searched her house, they found her purse with her wallet and her keys in a drawer next to the bed. It was like shoved in there. So no, if she was actually going to get milk at the store, she probably would have taken her purse and her keys and her wallet with her, right?
Yeah, you would think those are things you need.
Right. And even with that, no, nothing happened. Everything dropped. No one gave a shit. Case went cold. That's it. Goodbye.
Oh, man.
When there's like so much evidence pointing like, hello, the fucking gunshot residue, I was like, is anyone going to mention this? Because no, they never mentioned it.
How long does gunshot residue stay on your hand?
I meant to Google that, but I don't think you can wash it. Like, you can't just wash it off. It stays on your hand for at least, I think, 24 hours, I'm going to say. Look it up. So, because I was like, why is nobody asking about this? Like, nobody said anything about that. Dateline didn't bring it up. I'm like, that would have easily solved the case, like, right then and there. So, anyway, as they're interviewing the kids at home, Jacob, the 11-year-old, mentions that he saw a .25 caliber gun in Greg's possession 2 months before his mom was killed. And he said that Greg had told him it was for his mom. It was a gift for his mom. .25 caliber, they know that it was that because they had him describe the gun and it matched what a .25 caliber weapon would look like. So he knew what he was talking about.
Okay.
19 years go by. And nothing happens. Finally, this cop comes in, the one that's like, there's no way that's a coincidence. I'm going to solve this case. And he said they find Sherri, because she's no longer with Greg, and they say, we will give you full immunity if you tell us what happened.
No.
Full immunity.
No.
She didn't come forward and say, hey, I have a story. I want immunity. They came to her and said, I will give you full immunity if you tell us what happened. 19 years later.
What a fucking bitch.
So she says...
What a fucking bitch.
Yeah, I know. So she says that when she went over there the first time to babysit the kids, she didn't know he was married. And they started kissing and then they had sex that night. Like the first night that she came over to watch the kids. How gross is that? It's like, ew.
Ew.
Yeah. So... then she said that Greg kept talking about Sherri, saying, our life isn't fun anymore. I've already done the divorce thing. I don't want to have to do that again. It would just be easier if you killed her. And then this woman, what is her name? Nancy? Fuck. What?
Sherri.
No, not Sherri.
No. The babysitter?
The babysitter, yeah.
I don't remember.
Nancy. Okay, yeah. She said that she told Greg, hey, that's not a good idea. Like, these kids need their mother, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, so you didn't say anything to anybody when he said that he was going to flat out kill his wife? Like, that's kind of weird. And then she said, well, what happened at the night that on September 21st is Greg called her over to the Winn-Dixie parking lot and said, hey, I need you to pick me up. He got in the car with a wig on, threw it out the window as they were driving back down to his house, and he told her to just drive slow and make it back to the house. So he dropped her off. So then when the knock at the door came, that was Nancy doing the, hey, I'm here. We're gonna, like, here's your lawnmower. And then the kids were like, yeah, my dad was here the whole time. I never saw my dad leave. He was working in the backyard. And then the lady came over to ring the doorbell and we went and got him from the backyard. And then he came and talked with her. Little did they know that he gave her the weapon and all of his clothes. And she took that, drove to a secluded area and threw it over the bridge. The weapon was included. His clothes were included. Like, everything that would have, like, they could have checked for DNA was included.
How long were they together after they killed her?
Years. Like, quite a while.
How could you fucking be with someone?
Right, I know.
Who you knew did that.
Mm-hmm.
How the fuck?
Yeah.
I would be the first person to turn someone in.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Back to the residue. I don't know how accurate this is, but it says it only lasts for, like, it can be washed and wiped off, and it only lasts, like, 4 to 6 hours on your skin. Yeah.
That's not what I thought at all.
But I don't know. I mean, I'm just reading, like,
but, like,
bullshit.
they would have...
I don't know.
Yeah.
So feel free to fact check me.
That just pisses me off. I feel like they would have found something on their hands if they would have done that.
Well, like, maybe if he, I don't know, called the police in a timely manner.
Yeah.
With some sense of urgency.
Right.
How do you stay with someone?
I don't know.
Who killed someone?
She said she moved in right after this happened. And then she lost her mind, quote unquote. So then she moved out.
What the fuck does that mean?
I don't know. She couldn't handle it with 5 kids, I guess.
Oh, well, then you shouldn't have fucked him.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have helped him get away with murdering her.
So on March 7th, 2020, Greg was arrested at his house. And they had just they had her like witness stand confession and like that's it. Like they didn't have any like evidence of no physical evidence. They sent the bullet casing that they found to the lab, but the lab had put glue over it for some reason, and then they were like everything was destroyed after that. So like if there was a fingerprint on there or DNA, they'll never know.
Okay, so what happened?
So they get on the stand and they go through this whole thing, and the kids say that Tara, the 3-year-old at the time, no, it was her cousin. The cousin said that she had heard a bottle pop, like a bottle rocket pop or something. Mm-hmm. And she said, oh, that's weird. Like that was a strange noise and it kind of scared her, but she didn't think anything of it. So they're saying that's the time that he had killed Sherri. Was in the backyard. She heard the gunshot, not the bottle rocket, go off. And then he drove her to the Winn-Dixie, put her in the passenger seat and drove her to the Winn-Dixie. So everybody goes back to, see like what they want to do. They come back with a 10 to convict and 2 to not. So it was a hung trial.
Oh, okay, the jury.
Yeah, the jury. It was a hung trial. They could not, get a thing, so they just flat out said, okay, hung jury. So then they decide to retry him, and then they have this guy come in, this new witness that I guess was working at the Winn-Dixie the night of the murder, and he said he heard people arguing in the parking lot, but he couldn't see who they were, and then he heard 2 gunshot sounds. Which is weird because he didn't tell the police about this until the trial.
How do you remember it?
So now we're having 2 different people say that they heard 2 different, quote unquote, gunshot sounds at 2 different places. Yeah. So now it's now there's putting doubt in their heads. So they come back with not guilty. And he's free. And that's it.
He literally got away with murder.
With the excuse of, my wife went to go get milk and then never came back.
And then my babysitter dropped off a lawnmower.
So that I would have an alibi, so my kids would see me come back in the house and be like, oh no, Dad was outside working on the car all night. Can you believe that? Isn't that frustrating? I was like, this is so fucking frustrating. The cops did such little work in the beginning, and then they had conflicting stories at the end. They had witnesses coming forward that didn't want to talk before. They didn't make them talk. Can't they make you talk? I don't understand what the deal is. They just let it go.
We've researched plenty of cases where the cops coerce.
Right.
Confessions out of people who are innocent.
Well, this fucker didn't give a shit at all. They just didn't do their interview correctly.
God, imagine how complicated those emotions have to be as one of those children.
Yeah.
Who, not only did you lose your mom,
right,
you're living with the person who killed her.
Yeah. So they didn't realize that their dad was being investigated.
I know. They
didn't realize that.
Imagine looking back.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And being like, oh my God,
Mm-hmm.
my dad took me to soccer, but he also killed my mom. Like,
right.
Oh, how do I...
And he was, Jacob, the one that was Sherri's son, not Greg's son, said that he was, like, when they were dating, he would come pick him up from preschool and they would go fishing and do all this stuff. And he'd be all nice. But then he said when he was in Greece, he would, like, grab the boys by their hair and drag them down the stairs. And
when Sherri was in Greece?
When Sherri was in Greece. And just, like, beat them into...
So
just for no reason. So he's just a piece of shit. And then he told the other woman that he was going to kill his wife. And she was just like, oh, don't do that. Because then they won't have a mom. Like, that's... Like, she didn't go to the cops and be like, hey. Or she didn't go to Sherri and be like, hey. Like, and then they move in with each other, like, right afterwards.
I'm just going to tell you right now. If you came to me and you were like, I'm plotting to kill Auntie.
Right.
I would be like, oh, and how?
Tell me more.
Yeah, like, how are you plotting to kill Auntie? Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then I would just call the police. Like, I would not let you go through with that.
No.
Because
you know I would do it.
I believe you would. For the right reason.
Yep.
No, but like, because I wouldn't let you implode your family's life.
Right.
Like that.
No, I wouldn't let you do that either.
Like, could you imagine?
No, I cannot imagine someone coming to me and telling me that. Like, there's no way.
Or even trying to, like, hey, do you want to help me do that?
Right.
Like, I am not a ride or die.
No.
Nope. If you tell me you're doing illegal, bad things, like, I'm not on board.
No, absolutely not.
I am a little straight edge goody good. Not gonna fucking happen. It's not happening.
Oh, yeah.
It's not happening.
Yep.
So.
So I'm pretty sure the cops were saying, the thing that gets me is the lady got full immunity. Like, what the fuck? That is so fucked up. And she didn't ask for it. Like, he came to her and presented it.
Well, yeah, because they thought if they presented it, that they would get him.
Right. So they were thinking, like, the cops were trying, or like the prosecution and the defense, when they were doing the trial, they were trying to put doubt in saying that she did it. The mistress did it because she had a son and she was pregnant at the time with another man's baby and she couldn't afford to live on her own. So she attached herself to Greg.
Hold on. Huh?
Yeah.
So she has a son. She's single.
She's single, has a son, and she's pregnant.
With someone else's baby.
With someone else's baby who wants nothing to do with it.
And he's fucking her?
He's fucking her with his 5 kids. Yeah.
Trash.
She's pregnant. Yeah.
Trash.
Yeah. While Nancy is serving our country in a different country. Sherri is serving our country in a different country. Like, what the fuck, you piece of scum. And I feel bad. The cops are like, so we looked into her life and it was pretty boring in Greece. She was kind of a loner. I was like, so she didn't cheat on her husband. Is that what you're trying to say? Like, in not so many words?
She didn't get to have fun.
She didn't go out and, like, be just like some loosey-goosey. She was actually there to work. Is that what you're trying to say? Like, wow. Yeah, they called her a loner. I was like, that's a little harsh, I think.
Did it feel like a personal attack?
It did feel like a personal attack. I was like, what's wrong with being a loner?
Because you're a loner.
She didn't want to fucking go out and see anybody. I get that.
I don't want to talk to people either. Okay?
God.
That's a horrible one. I hated that.
Isn't that? I was like, I don't like this. It was making me upset.
The lack of justice really bugs me.
And because, like, the fucking excuse was so
bad.
Stupid. Like,
so bad.
She goes out for milk and then doesn't come home and you don't think it's connected. Like, what?
Just going for milk and a lawnmower.
Yeah. Like the story is... Ugh. Yeah, it was getting me so upset. I was, when you sent me that yelling emoji, it's like, that's what I feel like saying, like, into the phone. Like, what are you fucking doing? Yelling at the TV. Like, why is this happening? Like, that was like first day on the job cop work. You know, like there's no way that those were seasoned detectives who did that work because they just gave up.
God, there should be like penalties for
there
them
should
fucking
be.
up that bad.
There should be
like personal financial penalties. I don't know. Like
oh, and then the thing that should have sealed it was Nancy had said, not Nancy.
Sherri.
Nancy had said that Greg had told her that he shot Nancy twice. Sherri, sorry, Jesus Christ. Shot Sherri twice in the head, which they didn't tell anybody about. And so she knew she was shot twice in the head. She said that Greg said he shot her and he didn't kill her the first time and he felt bad, but he had already shot her, so he was already going to be fucked up. So he shot her again to kill her. And that's what she told the police, and they were like, well, he was shot twice, or she was shot twice, so, like, that wasn't released.
So he for sure
did it.
And he's still free?
And he's free. He's living in the same house.
I hope that house burns down.
Yeah. Like, this happened in 2022. The second trial happened in 2022. So he's out living in the same house.
I hope that house burns down. Well, he's in a very deep sleep.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So,
Bye.
Thanks for listening. You can find us on Instagram at
The Murder Mamas,
Facebook,
The M Mamas,
Twitter,
The Murder Mamas,
email,
themurdermamas@gmail.com.
And if you like us and are happy with our content, please leave us a review and a 5-star rating. We would appreciate it. Bye.